Good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the second episode
We doing it, y'all. Hey.
of Litimate Conversations. We are so happy to have you back. I am Kimberly Clayton,
And I'm Kim Jones.
and we are once again together to give you a quick literary conversation about what Clayton County has in their shelves or on their shelves. But this morning, we are so glad to be actually adding our bibliotherapeutic component, as we told you all with the first episode, with our special guest. Kim, would you like to introduce our special guest?
Yes, so our special guest is a longtime friend of mine. I've known her longer than I've had kids, so that's been a long time. Miss Chavonne White.
Hey, girl.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Chavonne, we're so excited to have you on our couch. Thank you for being our first guest. So you're going to give everybody a run for their money. Anybody who comes after now has to live up to what Chavonne does. So we know this is going to be good. Just to give you all a refresher, this month our book was The Body Keeps the Score by, because last month I was saying the author's name backwards, by Bezel Vanderkolk.
Yep.
Okay, that's kind of hard to get backwards. But this is our first nonfiction read. But this one kind of focuses on trauma, the physiological side of how trauma interacts with your body. And so, Chavonne, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do and how this book, how we brought you in with this book?
Okay, so again, my name is Chavonne. I'm a personal development coach. That is, I assist individuals in reconnecting with the truth of who they are. Like, who are you beyond your roles as a parent, a significant other, or whatever your career is. All of those are extensions of us. So it's discovering who we are first. So this book was like a revisit to my psychology books and like a inside look on your self journey, because it's like sometimes you don't even realize what it is that you're carrying, you know, what you're holding on to. And so this book really was a testament to, you can think you have moved on past something, but you really are carrying it in your body. So this was a good selection. It really was.
This was all Kim Jones. This was all Kim Jones.
A good selection.
Thank you. I was actually upset with myself about reading this book because it made me remember some of the things that I chose on purpose, accidentally, to forget. And I had to revisit that and re-deal with some of that stuff. So it actually made me cry. Like one night I think I was crying in my office one day too.
Yeah, it made me cry too. You know, especially hearing some of the things that people go through. And then you do recall things that you've experienced as well. So it was a enlightening read.
It was an enlightening read.
So as we're just going to get started into the conversation. I think along with the sentiments that you all share, one of the things that I learned is about how you actually feel your trauma. So when you're having that back pain or that stiff neck or that sharpness in your chest, or when your ribs pinch you or something, sometimes it's not just a oops, I ate something wrong, or I moved the wrong way, or I slept the wrong way. It's actually something that you've been holding on to that kind of sits in your body, and it begins to manifest into something. It goes from mental to physiological. And so I think that was one of the big points, is because we were talking about grief in our last on the last episode. The book was about grief, and kind of understanding how that trauma of losing someone sits in you if you don't deal with it well. It making that correlation to how the rest of your trauma, regardless of what it is. And I think also understanding that trauma doesn't always have to be debilitating.
Right.
It can be a abnormal bad day, or the culmination of stress from something. And understanding how sometimes when you're going, understanding how it's not necessarily, what is the word I'm looking for? People don't recommend that it's a recommendation that you have a slate of doctors, but most people just think if I go and take care of my body, I'm good.
Yeah.
But now this book explains how you need a psychotherapist or someone in that realm to make the correlation of, hey, you may need to go to the doctor because you're swelling or this pain is abnormal.
Yep.
Because now you need someone who has the knowledge to make that connection. And so I'm excited to talk to you. Kim's excited to talk to you. So let's get into the conversation.
Let's get into the conversation. So, I took notes. And I'm pulling out my phone because I was taking notes.
Oh, you was taking notes.
Oh, yeah, no, I was taking notes. And so one of the questions that I really wanted to talk to you about was, hold on, let me find my notes. Okay. From your perspective, what does the phrase "the body keeps a score" capture about the connection between the body and physiologic?
So that's kind of similar to what I said in my introduction, how you could think that you was moving on, like how you said you purposely suppress something. Some people don't suppress, they repress, where they don't even realize that they have pushed it to the back of their mind. So when you think that you have either forgotten about it or it didn't happen, then it does show up in your body, like with tension, like how she mentioned with your neck and, you know, the tightness in your chest. It could show up as like emotional reactivity where you snap in the minute somebody says something that sparked something that happened in the past that you don't even remember. It could also be illness, like disease is like if you break it up, it's dis-ease. So your body is not at ease. So that connects, so it's like your body is literally keeping score of things that you may feel like you have moved past, but you really haven't.
So, and it's funny that you said that about dis-ease, because there's another book that is called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And it talks about how the body develops diseases, but it's really a dis-ease in your subconscious. And being that it's a dis-ease in your subconscious, it's reflecting in your body through cancer, through hemorrhoids, through just various things that's saying, hey, no, you need to slow down. You need to address this bigger situation, because even the smaller situations, like someone who has a constant cold, that can be a bigger situation for them. So, yeah, that's interesting that you said that.
Yeah, dis-ease.
Dis-ease. And I don't know how many people, and you guys can comment or agree in the audience, but also online, I don't know how many people actually break that word down to dis-ease.
Yeah.
But that, it's a bigger word once you realize that.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. The book emphasizes that healing often involves reconnecting the body and not just talking about the trauma from a professional standpoint. Why is the embodiment of peace so essential? Now, I know you're about to give me business on this one, because you've been like this all your life. Like,
But I haven't.
no, I mean, like, you stand your own ground when it comes to you having your peace.
Oh, okay.
You stand on.
So
So
see, then it was a difference of peace and peace, because you know. But what I'll say is that embodiment piece is essential, because in the book he mentioned how it was one young lady, I think her name was Marilyn, who she didn't even realize that she had been molested by her father, I believe. And so her actions would show, like when she started dating, you know, how it would spark that memory, and she didn't even realize that it was going on. So like you could talk about something, but you don't even know if you're talking about your trauma, because you don't realize that you had it. So certain things like mindfulness and I would say, like he mentioned, acupuncture or dancing, something to get through to where you're in tune with your body and not just talking about it. So keeping my peace is me being in tune with who I am, like me, centered. Does that make sense?
it does.
Okay.
So how do you, with your clients, how do you tell them to center themselves? What are suggestions that you give? Because one of the big things that I do
is journal at night, at the end of my day. That's like my form of decompression.
Okay.
And I found myself in the beginning, I would just do blanket journaling. And
Blanket journaling is just writing it down.
just writing it down. Just
Okay. Whatever comes to
today,
mind.
like dear diary, today such and such
Okay.
happened. But now, and because I had to fill up the page, that was the only thing I was thinking about at the time was
Okay.
fill up the page. Now I don't even think about filling up the page. I am writing in detail how things made me feel. What did I think about it? Should I respond differently? All like I'm going into detail now. So that's one of the things for me. And I actually don't even start the process when I'm journaling. I start the process when I'm washing my face at night. When I'm washing my face at night,
So
it's
you're
like
preparing for it.
yes, it's like I'm mentally preparing. So and this happened, and I need to tell. And I'm just talking to myself and my plans. But yeah,
Well, journaling is a big thing that I do share because it is helpful. And it helps with even your emotional regulation because sometimes you could be dealing with something or you could have heard something and it wasn't really what was said. You heard it because of what you are dealing with in your own experience. So journaling is a good way to like check yourself too because it's like, okay, I write this down. Do you go back and read it? Because I do tell people to go back and read what they wrote. Because like if you go back and read, especially aloud, it's just like, I said that. I wonder why, and it digs deeper into why you could have thought what you did. So journaling is really good.
no, I don't go back and read.
Audio journaling is good too because then you can hear how you are sounding while you're feeling whatever you're feeling. So it's like I'm voicing this, like I'm voice recording. And then when I go back, it's like, oh, and my tone was this. And so reading it and journaling is like, I feel like that's number one on the list of things to recenter.
That's like, so I'm listening to you and I'm thinking of ways to apply that in my life. But when you said auto journaling, I honestly thought about how your voice changes in reflections and tones from excitement to sad. I'm afraid to try something like that. I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm afraid to try something like that because I'm just like, am I emotionally ready for it?
To hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's fair, but that is a step though. It's like, you know how we gotta get through to get to. So you gotta get through that.
So I know I'm not the only one that don't be wanting to unpack stuff. And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, it's just me. I'm the only one. No. Some of us are really afraid to unpack a lot of stuff.
It is a fear too, because I feel like sometimes we wrap our minds into what we're supposed to be or who we're supposed to be.
That part.
And what it is that we're supposed to be doing. But if you are honest with yourself and you become a safe space for yourself, then nobody else can make you feel any less than it. Like, you got to be safe with you.
We're gonna go to our next question. So many people have tried traditional talk therapy but still feel stuck. What does the book suggest about those approaches sometimes fall short? How those approaches sometimes fall short?
Well, that is neat how the questions are connecting, but it's if you don't know what it is that you dealt with, then how I'm gonna talk about it, and then that's one. But then, like how you mentioned the fear. So if people are afraid to talk, they're not going to talk. So you have to figure out different ways. So he mentioned movement, he mentioned mindfulness, and then movement in the sense of, this is a library. So if you guys want to create a African dance class, I kind of been looking for that for like the past 2 years.
No,
I haven't found it.
No.
But movement in that capacity, like dance, listening to music, yoga, he mentioned that. So doing different things outside of talk therapy. Talk therapy is good when you're ready. Like, people have to get ready to talk. Like, they can come around you, but they got to feel safe to express themselves. So until that, trying different things.
So I want to say this. So I have a therapist. I feel like everybody should have a therapist. So I have a therapist. And I often tell her that if we were not client doctor, she would probably be one of my best friends because she gets me. But then again, I think that's her job, is to get me.
Right.
So, but I was talking to her and I was like, every time I talk to my dad, I get this headache and da 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 da. And I heard it once I said it. every time I talk to my dad, I get this headache. And she said, oh, let's unpack that.
Right.
So then I found out that I had daddy issues.
Mm.
And she was like, yeah, so maybe schedule calls with your father. And before you have those conversations with your father, try doing some type of exercise. And I said, well, I talk to my dad on a regular basis. She was like, well, you need to do 15 minutes of exercise every morning, because if that's in your routine of your starting your day, then you need to get on a jump on that prior to having a conversation with him. So I started walking on my little treadmill every morning for 15 minutes. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't do no like heavy running or nothing like that. It's just like light steps to get my breath up, and then I'm like, all right, this is good for a solid 15 minutes, maybe while I'm watching news or listening to Cardi B. One of those two things is happening in the background.
Cardi B will get you going.
Cardi B will get you going. So I noticed that my headaches started going away. And I said, my headaches are not as bad as they were when I talked to my dad. She's like, okay. She's like, so do you want to talk to him about you having headaches whenever you talk to him? And I was like, no. And she said, yeah, so go ahead and write down a letter, and then we'll talk about the letter. I wrote the letter, we talked about it. And then she said, now mail that letter off. And I mailed the letter.
Okay.
And my father and his wife had the most intriguing conversation, because she was like, you didn't even know your daughter felt like this. I need you to do better. Then my mom called him, because his wife called my mama. And it was like, so my dad has actually been doing better, but it's because I did something other than just talk about the fact that my head was hurting when I talked to my dad.
And you talked about the reason why your head was hurting.
And I did not know. It's a lot of women walking around that don't know they had daddy issues. I did not know I had daddy issues.
It's a lot of people that don't know the issues that they have, period. Like, you talk about trauma, it starts, like, adult issues stem from childhood. So things come up because of things that people have repressed and suppressed all through their lives. So, mommy issues, daddy issues. Like, men have mommy issues.
I don't think the world ready to talk about mommy issues, though. That's a different conversation.
It is, and you know why I feel like part of it is because mommies don't want some. Because I'm a mommy that is willing to hear with my child. So some don't want to hear that, because in their minds they're equating that to being, I was a bad mom. When it's not. Like, there is no manual. You know, it's not like we supposed to step, do these steps. Like, you really have to be in your own experience, learn from that experience so that you can grow.
Thank you for saying that, because there are a lot of moms that feel like, yeah, I messed up and I might not be the best mom. And it could have been just like the slightest misstep, or just I had a bad day. And I was not as loving as I needed to be towards my children at that moment, which will then create trauma.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Like, in our journeys, we have to learn, relearn, and unlearn in order for us to grow. So it's just creating those safe spaces.
With myself. And let's be clear, I love myself. I talk to myself all the time. But I feel I'm one of those people that believe once I feel like I've dealt with it the best I wanted to deal with it, then I put it in the trunk. And then I put that trunk in the trunk. And then I put that trunk in the trunk. And then I put a lock on it. A chain lock, not like a regular lock, a chain lock. And then I push that into the ocean of my feelings and let it float away.
But then it don't float.
It don't. I guess it's...
Because it's like Erykah Badu, you got to pack like, you know, you a bag lady when you got all them trunks. So you got to drop some of them bags.
And this is why I was crying when I read that book. This is why I was crying. Okay. The author touches on ideas that trauma can ripple across generations, which we just talked about, and through intuitions and institutions. How can organizations like schools, libraries, and the workplace become more trauma-informed in practice?
Well, I would say this is a good starting point, like creating environments where people are able to feel comfortable enough to share. So this is a good starting point, because in the book he did talk about a couple of people weren't able to express themselves until they went to like a group setting. Because then when you see that other people are experienced or have experienced what you have, you don't feel so alone, and then you feel open enough to share. I think too is being kind. Like, someone could be rude and mean, but it has nothing to do with us, like not personalizing it. Really asking, like trying to see what people are going through, because everybody going through something, you know. So it's us to be able to be kind and empathetic to people's situations. So I think what you guys are doing with this, creating more social settings where people can feel comfortable, like comfortable spaces. Work settings can do something like I would say like emotional development, because you know how you're supposed to learn it when you're a child. But then if you're around emotionally dismissive individuals, are you really learning your emotion? So then this whole crash out, I'm so sick of that phrase, but they say it. I'm crashing out. You crashing out because you don't know how to deal with your emotions. So even implementing something like that to help the community understand, to label and express their emotions in a healthy way.
I just want to sit with that for a second. Because you're right, that crash out, what lifestyle that people are insisted upon having, and then not everybody is raised with emotional intelligence.
Right.
Or the ability to, some people are stifled and are taught not to express feelings. So when you're in a situation where you have to express feelings, and I also want to say this, our director is the director of the library, Director Scott Parham. Hey. He has made it a mission, a personal mission of his, to make sure all of his employees, like across the county, know about the EAP program that's offered by the county. And B, he himself has had therapists come in and talk to the staff, have therapists come in and do coffee with the librarian. He's made it a point to be very self-aware about how he talks to people and making sure that he creates a great work environment, which is why a lot of people who work here are like, yeah, I love working there. But then I know other people who work in toxic, abusive situations, and I'm like, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little spoiled because if I'm having a bad day, I can go and talk to any of my coworkers and be like, I'm having a really bad day. And I really just need to get some stuff off my chest.
That's good.
But we created a safe space. So maybe also being a person that other people could come and talk to without judgment.
Yeah.
That's the trend that we really need to keep.
Yeah.
We listen and we don't judge.
Right.
So
yeah, that's good. Y'all have that. That helps with productivity as well. And I'm sure there's not a revolving door of employees. Like, people actually stay here because if you feel good about where you work, then you're gonna come to work and work.
Yeah. And yes, we don't have a revolving door.
And it relieves a lot of stress that you could be dealing with outside of work. Like, to come into a place and that work is the added stress on top of the stress that you're dealing with. So that's good.
Yeah. For our listeners who are processing their own experience, what are some accessible first steps towards healing people can do safely in their own communities?
So you mean in their communities or with themselves?
So with themselves, but in their surrounding areas.
Okay. Well, the first will have to be awareness. Like, are you aware of what it is that you're dealing with? Because if you are aware of your experience, then you could assist somebody else. Like, remember how you mentioned you got to be a safe space, or someone who is a safe space, right? So if I'm aware of what it is that I'm dealing with, then I can assist you or somebody else because of my experience. Like, I could be that safe space. Another is the social aspect, because some people isolate. Like, if they're going through something, they stick to themselves. But like how you mentioned, you could go to a coworker and talk, like having that, being that. So that again goes back to the kindness and being empathetic. Like, just be kind. Like, we just need to be kind to people. Stop being so mean.
So one of my coworkers just told us that she was in a car accident, And I was like, she was like, they weren't paying attention and this hit me. I said, were you upset? She's like, no, they were nice, so I was nice. I said, look at that. She's like, yeah, their insurance is taking care of everything. They were at fault. They know they were at fault. We didn't have to go back and forth. I'm driving this rental until my car is fixed.
That's how you handle a situation determines the outcome.
Right.
So if you escalate, then the situation gonna get escalated, and then what? There's more stress on top of.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind. Go out your way today and be kind to somebody. Go out your way and be kind to somebody until it's a regular habit and you're no longer going out of your way.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, what was your favorite thing about this book?
I liked his transparency. Like, he was open with, even when he felt like something wasn't gonna work. You know, like when he talked about the EMDR technique. At first, when he heard about it, he was like, what is this? Is this something else that somebody done created? And then when he saw how it worked, then he tried it first and then implemented that. So to even express that you were against it at first and then came on board, to me, that's just like, I learned from people like that who are open and honest about their human experience. Like, nobody gets it like this off the rip. We all learn some kind of way. We have all made mistakes and learned from those mistakes. So I valued that about him.
Okay. For me, what my biggest takeaway from this book is it is okay to focus on me. Like my inner me. It is okay to do that because I want to understand why I feel like that or why things hurt. You know, I want to understand that. So that was my biggest takeaway from this book. Focusing, like saying yes to focusing on the inner me. Because in your everyday life, we get, especially in adulthood, I just want to say, whoever said that once you become an adult, you could do whatever you want, did not tell the truth.
They did.
I want to say that. I want to make it clear. And I want people to stop saying it. So, you move along your day and you have all these responsibilities, and it just becomes like you literally start getting ready for the next day before you're finished with the current day. Like Sunday, you're getting ready for Monday. Monday, you're writing down everything you need to do for Tuesday, you know, and you're just going along with the train of your life, and you're not taking time to embrace the moments or even check in with yourself and say, hey, wait a minute, before we do all that, are we okay? Can you wiggle your toes? Can you wiggle your fingers? Can you move your neck in a full circle? Can you, just the basics. We're not even checking in on ourselves. So from this book, I've decided that I am going to start doing a self-check-in and making sure that I'm okay.
Yeah, you have to. Because that's like, if you don't check in with yourself, then it's like you're pouring from an empty cup. So we thinking that we giving somebody substance, but we really not. You know? So, yeah, being in tune with yourself is one of the things that my therapist told me was, you know how you have the golden rule of you treat people like you want to be treated. That's the golden rule. So he created the platinum rule where I treat myself like I want to be treated, right? And then because of the law of attraction, when people see how you treat yourself, that's how they're going to come at you. But when you abandon yourself because you're doing for everybody else, why are we worried about why don't nobody pay attention to us? Because we're not paying attention to us.
Y'all caught that? Okay. All right. With that being said, let me start treating myself the 5-star deal.
You should.
Listen.
You should. Why
Listen.
not? Because then when somebody else come up to you and try and give you 3 stars, you're going to be like, oh, I give myself better.
Right. I eat lobster every night. What you like? What is this? Right. That is. Man. Okay. So anybody got any questions in the audience? No? Y'all don't? Y'all read this book? Are y'all going to read the book?
It's helpful.
It's on the queue. It's on my queue.
It's on your queue?
Yes.
This is a good book, but I'm going to tell all of y'all, everybody watching, everybody sitting in this, if you read this book, get a box of tissue and be prepared to ugly cry and take notes. And especially take notes about the parts of the book that made you choke up. The statements that made you, that you had to go back and reread to make sure that you understood and were clear in that process. So,
Yeah, I agree with that. Pay attention to those moments that choke you up. That's good. Because then that is your body telling you.
right. So,
Look at me.
look at me, hey, check me out.
I'm here.
Well, this was a beautiful conversation.
Thank you for having me. It was.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. And thank you for reading the book too, girl.
It was good. I was highlighting and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I highlight and write in my book. One
In
of my
the- in the
teachers
corners?
said, yeah, in the corner. She said, all that space is for, they need for notes. So that's what I do. Yeah.
Which is why I don't like checking out. Because
Yeah,
even
me
when I
either.
read novels, I don't like bringing them
No.
back. So I have to.
Yeah, I need to buy it. Yeah.
Well, so I know you're not going to be our guest next month, but if you want to read along,
Okay.
next month we're reading I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Oh, who is this by?
Jenny, the Nickelodeon star.
Got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
talked about that book.
yeah, so that's what we're reading. I have not started yet. So I have it. It's on my nightstand, and I'm debating if I'm going to start reading it overnight, like through the nights, or if I'm going to read it in the daytime.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like I hide emotions better in the daytime. At night, I'd be like, ooh.
Is it hiding or is it like managing?
Okay, let me change my statement. I manage my emotions better in the daytime.
Well, then that's okay. Okay.
Well,
But how did y'all select that book?
because
Especially after coming off this.
because it talks about family dynamics, and a lot of people avoid Thanksgiving
Oh, so since we're
And-
coming into the holidays.
since we're coming into the holidays, and people they don't. Friendsgiving was created because people wanted a reason to avoid their families.
I would disagree.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not avoiding. It's like one of the things that my therapist did ask me was, what is family to me? And sometimes, like, family to me is connection and love, support. Sometimes your family that you were born into isn't that. So then you have your family that you've created that's not through blood. So it's not that I'm avoiding y'all. I'm just spending time with my family.
That you created.
Yeah. So it's not avoidance. It really is like how you said, you choosing you. It's choosing peace.
Okay. So you don't want me to tell my family that I avoid them on purpose?
I wouldn't recommend that.
Oh. I'll play nice with them. That's fine. Because I gave them the business yesterday. But anyway, so with that being said, thank you guys for joining us. And we will see you next month. Bye.